What is up, whammin' and gentle whammin'? Welcome back to the channel, guys. So this is the update for the case tournament this weekend. This is not the exact build that I ran at the case tournament. I've since changed it for locals yesterday because I'm recording this on Sunday. Because we had a double box tournament locals yesterday. But do a quick tournament report for how the case tourney went. It was 67 players, 6 rounds of Swiss, then a cut to top 16. So round 1, I played against one of the other guys that goes to our locals. Played against Strytron. He won the die roll. I didn't open droplets game 1 or 3. So that's how that one goes. He won that one 2-1. Going to the next round, I played another guy from our locals, playing Virtual World. I was able to beat him to 2-0. That's a pretty easy matchup for this deck, for Phantom Knights. Going into round 3, I played Adagnister, which another guy from our locals, not who I played, but another guy from our locals was playing Adagnister, so I knew I'd lose that if I lost the die roll. Well, we lose the die roll and we somehow are able to squeeze out a win. We squeak out wins games 2 and 3. Game 2 we just went first and we won, and then game 3 we opened up Droll for the normal summon and we're able to get in there. Round 3, I played against... What did I play against round 3? I cannot remember what I played against. Oh, round 3 I played against Invoke Shadal, ended up losing that. So at this point we're 2-2. We have to win out the rest of the day. So that's after round 4. Round 5, round 5 we played Sword Soul. We 2-0'd Sword Soul. That was actually probably the easiest game I had played all day. I don't know if it was this that he bricked or what it was, but like, I go first game 1, negate the first Sword Soul, he reveals to try to summon. That passes his turn. I'm able to kill him on the crackback. Game 2, we open Droplet, negated his board. He activates the trap card, blowing up my 2 of the monsters because I went normal summon Torguide, Chain, Kagamusha Knight, Specs, Scarm because we drew the graph. He goes blow up Torguide and Kagamusha Knight, so we spec graph from hand and went full combo from there, was able to win the game. That one was pretty easy. And then we go into the final round of Swiss. We're playing against Tri-Brigade. Now mind you, at this point it is, I believe, 12:30 at night. It's been a long day. We're running on like 6 hours of sleep. So he wins game 1 pretty handily because he won the die roll, so he got to go first and was able to stop my normal summons. I won game 2 pretty handily. Reverse situation, I got to go first. It's hard for Try to play through Appaloosa Double Fogblade. Or not Appaloosa, because game 2 I made F-Zero Dragon and Double Fogblade, and he wasn't able to play through that. Game 3 he bricked pretty hard. We go into... We read that he's got Nib because he didn't do anything and just passed, and so we read the Nib and we make our normal line and we set it up to where like we had the Rusty in the top left zone, and we're setting up the same way we were before, as if we were going to go into F-Zero Dragon to bait him into holding his Nib for the F-Zero play, which is the correct thing to do, is to hold it for as long as you're possible. But we tricked him because I'm guessing he assumed that we weren't playing app, so we went ahead and made an app, and he attempted a Nib there, which ended in the Nib getting negated. We swung in for some damage and passed back to him with app and Double Fogblade set. He goes Monster Reborn, bring back my Leviair, make normal summons Thoroughblade, makes a Borbo, moves into the battle phase, and at the start of the battle phase I activate Fogblade number 1 targeting the Borbo, and I didn't activate the second Fogblade because I was just so tired. I wasn't thinking about him. I just wasn't thinking. If we would have activated the second Fogblade, we went on the crackback. But moral of the story is I punted game 3 pretty hard with that. I made multiple mistakes after that and ended up coming down to like 2 minutes left on the clock with him at 24,000, me at 2,000, and then he just kind of hung around in there until time was called. We didn't get our turn back. If we would have gotten our turn back, we would have been able to use the Phoenix Enforcer. Spoiler alert, we've got Phoenix Enforcer. Use Phoenix Enforcer to pop his only monster and then swing in for game, but we didn't get a final turn. So I punted that game pretty hard. I should have made top 16 because he was the 16th player in top 16 and he actually made it on to top 8. I punted that game pretty hard. It's nothing the deck did all day. The deck was fine. There's a couple choices that I've since changed, and I'm not 100% sure on if those changes are better or worse, but I definitely think they're better. But the changes we've made, I will go through when we get to that point. But onto the deck profile. So we still play 2 Tour Guide as our starter, and then the 3 Torn Scales. These cards are great. There's no explanation needed there. Then we played the Triple Boots, 1 Stained Greaves, 1 Ragged Gloves, 1 Ancient Cloak. The Phantom Knights engine is really standard in my opinion. This was the same as what it's always been, and it's what I ran for the tournament. It was really good. 2 Kagamusha Knight. This card's insane. Every game that I opened Tour Guide Kagamusha Knight, I won that game. Just like this card's just actually insane. And then 2 Psychic Wielders, or 2 of the Psychics for the E-Telly targets. E-Telly put in so much work. Like it eats up so many negates and like interactions against the Drytron board. It's kind of crazy, but those are the extenders. And then the new edition, I was playing Monster Born for the case tournament. I've since cut it because like every time I saw it, it was really bad. We were kind of looking for like just 2 tech cards at the start of the day just to kind of like mess with people. You'll see the second tech card later in the deck profile because like that card was actually literally insane every time I saw it. But for the second tournament at locals that I went undefeated with, Snake was just like amazing. You pitch this off of the Torn Scales, and it's just like a free extender. It's a free discard fodder, which I noticed in the case tournament. Like you don't really, like you think you have free discard fodder, but you really don't. So like this was very nice to have to pitch off of the Torn Scales. And then we still play the same Burning Abyss lineup. It's the Seer Graf Skarm. I really like this lineup. Skarm's definitely the weakest one, but I feel like you have to run a 3rd Fiend target for the Tour Guide line. I really like having it being a Burning Abyss name. That way if you draw, say, Seer, you have something else you can summon off the Graf. Or even if like you don't open Tour Guide, but you open Seer, it's fine because you just send this, summon this, and then you search the Tour Guide in the end phase. And you'll be able to go normal Tour Guide, spec the second Tour Guide. So there's lines. There are times where like you see all of your Burning Abyss engine and you just have like a dead Tour Guide in deck, which is kind of savage, but you can't really control that. I don't think running 3 Tour Guide is correct. And then the final monsters were the Destiny Hero package. You run the 1 Dasher and 1 Celestial. This package is like 1,000 times better than the Goon lineup. Phoenix Enforcer just way outperformed what I thought it was going to. Like I was nervous going into the day after picking it up and switching to this build. I was very nervous going into the day because of it. I was thinking, you know, I'm not comfortable with the lineup. Am I going to forget? Am I going to mess things up? And then I'm so grateful that I did switch because, like, initially, like, when you first summon a Goon, it's very strong. But the longer your Phoenix Enforcer loops, and this engine just gets you so much inherent value that it's actually insane. It is literally insane. And plus the fact that you don't have to discard for Dragoon, like, or for Phoenix Enforcer, so you're just destroying useless card. Like you destroy it and it floats back out all the time. Or if you just like want to get rid of a Vert off your field, so you can bring a Breaksword back into a column that Rusty points to. Like it's really good. It is oppressively good in this deck. And then this package is really strong. So like on the crackback, when you get back to your turn, if you draw a monster, Dasher just summons it out for free, and then you banish these two and draw 2 cards for no reason. Like this engine is really, really strong. On the spells, we got the 2 E-Telly. This card's just like insane. Why is this at 2? Like if this comes back to 3, it's gonna be great in the deck. The next tech was the 1 Regeki. There's a lot of people like actually talking about me yesterday just because they're like, there's a guy around here playing Regeki and it's blowing people out. Like, yeah, like in my last round, I activated Regeki against my opponent, and it almost got me enough to where I could still steal game 3 after my major misplay. Like this card was put in so much work. Like it just breaks, like freely breaks boards. Like you droplet Regeki is just like insane. Activate Regeki, they go to negate, you chain droplets and the Regeki and like 2 other things negate their board and then wipe it. It's like literally insane. This card is crazy right now. It's really good. 1 Rhoda, 1 Callby. These are just like obvious. You need this to stop hand traps, and you need this to search your warriors, because like most of the deck is warriors. This searching Kagamusha Knight's really strong. It baits out hand traps, so like I always go this first to try to get a hand trap baited out. Or if I'm like, I have a droplet in hand, I'll do this, activate the Rhoda, and then see if they try to negate it. If not, I'll just chain droplet, send the Rhoda to the grave. Like it's really, really strong to do that. It's like, it's meant. Next, we played the 3 Fusion Destiny. This card's insane. Like drawing this in your opening hand is really, really strong. I know I'm not playing the Predaplant engine to search it, but like you don't really have to. I feel like the Predaplant engine was too fragile, so I just stuck with what I knew was good, and it worked out. Like every time I drew this card, it was really good because I could just like make my plays freely and not care about anything. And then if I get interrupted or get beat down, I can just be like, blip, Fusion Destiny, and go in. I made, and that's part of why I made some of the changes I did in the extra deck for the local tournament. But yeah, like this card was absolutely insane. Insane. We played the 3 droplets and 3 triple tactics talents. Both of these cards are cracked. I don't think I need to tell anybody about how good these cards are. They're really, 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 really good. I used the rip out of hand and the draw 2 the most out of this. Nobody really like nibbed me. Like I got nibbed twice the whole tournament, and only once did I take their nib and do anything with it. Against the guy, in the last round, I didn't have talents. Well, I had talents for when he nibbed me, and I took the nib and made a Phoenix Enforcer with it, and just wasn't able to kill him. And then on to the traps. Got the 3 Fog Blade, 1 Wings, and 1 Shade Brigading. This card is literally insane right now. Like it makes a lot of your matchups just free. I'm really starting to feel like PK is probably one of the most slept on decks and probably one of the best decks of the formats right now. But like the only problem with the deck is you just lose so hard to we don't lose, but like you get hit really hard to Lancia. But still, this card just like wins you games. I was testing with a friend of mine against his Flunderies deck, who ended up taking 2nd place at the case tournament. And this just like puts in so much work against Flunder. He lost his last round to PK. I mean, his game 3 was the PK players, and was literally insane. But like this card just puts in so much work against the deck. It's actually insane. Sometimes just like Phoenix Enforcer Double Fog Blade is just enough to just destroy people's decks. Onto the extra deck, we got Token in our field center. So we were playing the F-Zero package at the event. I didn't really like it because it takes up so many resources from your extra deck, and I felt like I was utilizing way too many resources. And I decided to cut the F-Zero for Salamangreat Almaraz because there was multiple times at the case tournament where I wanted something, like I had Ragged Gloves, but I couldn't do anything with it, or I had a cloak. Like in the games that I lost were because like I had one Phantom Knight, I had either cloak or gloves, and I just couldn't get to anything. Like I would end up just like setting a Fog Blade and passing and hoping that was enough. but I couldn't get into anything because I couldn't just normal summon and link it off and to make something to banish and then like get the deck going. But yeah, so like I put the Almirage in because it's inherently just like you normal summon Cloak, banish the Cloak, or normal the Cloak, make Almirage, and then you can banish it, send whatever you need, and try to get the deck going that way. I never summoned it at the double box tournament this weekend, so I'm not 100% sure this is going to be the wave going forward. But like this is definitely going to be a flex spot that I'm going to be trying out different things. I don't think it comes up enough, but this is definitely going to be a flex spot. I don't know what this is going to be moving forward. You still play the one Link Spider to get rid of the Nib token and your Shade Brigandine. If you need to make like a Vert or something that's really strong, yeah, I feel like you really have to play this right now. The one Cherry Beanie, it's combo piece, you know what it does. The other thing we dropped for was an IP. Like, IP's really strong, especially now that we're playing the Fusion Destiny. So when you make your line, you go into the Appaloosa instead of trying to make the F-Zero Dragon. So you do your normal line, you go into F-Zero, or you go into Appaloosa. And once you make the app, you don't have to really worry about hand traps. So you just make the Break Sword, bring it back, make Break Sword in the Rusty Zone, pop the Break Sword, bring 2 back, make IP, and then search your Fog Blade, activate your Fusion Destiny from hand, and then you still have your Phoenix Enforcer. So like this is just like what you make if you open Fusion Destiny, and it's really strong because like most of the time you'll like burn through an Appaloosa at a gate, or they'll imperm the Appaloosa, try to get forced out on a gate, and or like something along the like imperm or chalice the Appaloosa, that way they don't have to deal with it. So like mid combo you can just like IP the app away and then get in there and try to have an interruption that way, and that actually came up at the double box tournament, so that was really strong. It came up against the Drytron player. I got my revenge. He still won the die roll, but I opened drop like game 3. So, and IP was part of like the way I beat him game 2. Vert because Vert summons Phoenix Enforcer. Rusty Bard-ish because like it's Rusty. He's really good. Unicorn. Now that we have IP, we're summoning this thing like it's our job now, and it's making it so much easier to link climb into access code. That's one thing I noticed at the case tournament was, and why I switched off the F-Zero package. It's like I found it so many times. It's like, well, if I could make access code here, I would win the game, but I've taken up so much of my extra deck in the F-Zero package that I just can't link climb fast enough into this because I went through like both of my link 2s in my opening turn. So like this, it was hard to climb into this, which is really surprising for the deck. But I definitely think moving forward, it's either going to be the Almirage or another Link 2. What Link 2 that will be, I'm not sure. It might be a Phoenix for utility, and that way I can just like go Phoenix to Unicorn to access code. Like just being able to link climb into access code is really important. There were so many times this weekend where if I would have been able to climb into link access code, it would have closed out games a lot faster. So hopefully with like cutting the F-Zero package, I can get to this card easier to close out games. One app, because this card's like really good right now. Well, it's not crazy good right now. It's just strong. I feel like once Brave comes out, like this is going to get cut from the extra deck because like it's a waste of resources at that point, just because like you're going to be able to be such a better mid-range deck because you're not wasting all your resources to bring this out to protect your line from hand traps. You're just going to go make your Brave stuff, and then you don't care about the nib or whatever anymore, and you'll have that interruption that way. One Levier, this card's really good. You always summon this thing. It's like turn 1, this thing's so strong. It gives you resources back. 2 Break Swords. This thing comes up all the time. Use it so much. I almost want to play 3. This card's so good. Like you use the first one on your opening turn to set up a line. Like you pop it and then you bring the stuff back to make Vert or the IP. This card's just like insane. Like later on in the game, like bringing it back off a Fog Blade and like popping a card and then swinging, making it into a Zeus. Like this card just does so much. Or if you just like hard make it and then Rusty pop a card and then you detach pop it, or pop a useless card you have, pop another card. Like just like clearing stuff off your opponent's board is so strong right now. Like I absolutely love this card. We played the 1 Downer and 1 Zeus. I'm so torn on this package. I summoned it once in the case tournament. No, I never summoned it. I've yet to summon this package in the case tournament or in this last locals, but like there's times where like this comes up and you just like win games because of it. So I don't feel like you should cut it, but I'm on the fence about it. Like depending on it, how ironed out I have the link line is whether or not this will stay. Like if I feel like I need some other stuff, like this might be what gets cut, but we'll see. Like I'm really liking Zeus right now though. Even though I never summoned it, it's always nice to have that option. And then finally, you got the one Destroyed Phoenix Enforcer. This card is insane. This card is so good. Like, I'm so glad I switched to this over Dragoon. Like, this is it inherently side by side. Dragoon is a more powerful card than the Destroyed Phoenix Enforcer. But the surrounding cast and what all this card does is absolutely insane. Like, it puts it so much better than Dragoon. Like, Dragoon by itself is more oppressive, but like this is every single turn popping a card, bringing itself back, popping another card. So you're popping on your turn, you're popping on their turn, it's coming back every single turn, not just on your standby phase, it comes back on their standby phase. This card is insane. The only thing with this card is you have to remember that when it's destroyed, you activate the effect then, not during the standby phase to come back. You miss the timing if you don't do it immediately when it goes to graveyard. So just remember that. But that's the extra deck. Let me fix the extra real quick, but then we'll go into the side deck. Okay, for side, it's for the most part the same as what I took to the case tournament. We got the double Godarla because you have to play the Wind Kaiju right now, or else you just lose to the Wind Barrier statue. I feel like that's pretty standard. If I had a third, I'd play 3 probably. But yeah, so double Godarla, triple Droll. You have to play this for the Drytron matchup. It's really good against Agnister. Like it has some really good matchups across the board. There's a bunch of times I sided that in. The same with Lancia. It's got a bunch of good matchups across the board. Like it's really good against the Mirror Match. It's really good against Tri Brigade. It just does a lot. This card just does so much. I don't know how many games I won because of Lancia, but like it was quite a few. 1 Duster and then 3 Lightning Storms for any back row deck matchups. I was very fortunate, didn't play any. I feel like that's this deck's worst matchup is trap decks. Like you either draw these and blow them out, or you just get out. They just outgrind you. Like you can't keep up with a back row deck. And then at the case tournament, the last 3 cards on the side were 3 Twin Twisters, and those were absolutely terrible. They made my hands brick more than what they were worth. So I think I sided again against the Invoke deck because they were playing a lot of back row. And honestly, I opened up 2 game 3, and it kind of cost me the game. Yeah, my game 3 hand was just atrocious. It was like 2 Twin Twister, Monster Reborn, Droplet, Monster Reborn, Droplet, Boots, and some other spell that was completely Regeki. It was literally insane, like terrible. That hand was just god awful. And I blame mostly the Twin Twister because it sucked up most of the resources in that hand. So we switched it out for Solemn Strikes. I realized when I was getting ready for the double box tournament that my side deck was very lacking in going first cards. So I decided to try out Solemn Strike. So what I would do is when I knew I was going first, so like game 2 against the Drytron player, I sided in triple strikes and sided out my Forbidden Droplets, and I opened the strike against the Drytron player, and just double Fog Blade Strike was ridiculous. So yeah, that's like I really liked having this. I think this card's in a really good place right now. This and Warning are a lot better than people are giving them credit for. But all in all, like I'm very happy with the deck. This is what I'm going to continue to play going forward. I mean, I picked up Birds because I want to learn Birds and know how to effectively stop them, not just rely on double Fog Blade Pass. And I think the deck's going to be a lot of fun. Also, so quick tournament report for the double box tournament. It was 4 rounds. Round 1 we drew with Drytron. The Drytron player is a newer player, and I beat him solidly game 1, and then game 2 I opened the draw and just like completely stopped his turn. We didn't open we opened a really good hand. He had the Lancia to slow my turn down to where I couldn't kill him, and then it just started to turn into like a slow, grindy game between the two of us, and he's very new, so it ended up being in a draw in game 2. I was in a very commanding position, but he was the last person to have a turn, so I think he had 6,400, no, he had 4,400 life on his turn, and he was able to get me to 4,000, and then time was called, so we ended in a draw. If the turn would have made it back to me, we most definitely would have won the game, because I had Phoenix Enforcer coming back, and I had full graveyard set up, and plus a draw too. So that game was well in my hands. It just, my man's takes a little bit to make it through this plays. So, like, I'm pretty sure when they did a time check, it was like 7 minutes, and it was still his turn. Like, he took a full 7 minutes on his turn to get me down to 4K. But it's okay. It's technically a local, so I don't fuss about slow play too much. Round 2, we played against... Who did I play round 2? It was something. Come on. You gotta think about it. Card. I know round 3 I played against Scrap Orchest. We dunked on them, sadly, 2-0, because, like, Scrap Orchest is a really strong deck when the combo goes off, but, like, you stop the normal summon, which we did both times. We went first game 1 and just shut down the normal summon with a fog, or I think it was a Fog Blade or a Phoenix Enforcer pop or something like that. We stopped the Scrap Recycler, or Scrap Raptor, and then game 2 he starts going through his combo. I wait till he sends the Kriston Rosnex and just Lancia at him, and then he had to pass on that because the deck just loses the Lancia so bad. It's kind of sad. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. I'm still trying to rack my brain as to what I played round 2. Round 2 we played against Tri Brigade. We beat Tri 2-0 or 2-1. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure in the last game, yeah, it was 2-1, because we went first game 1. We dunked on them game 1 because, like, Appaloosa double Fog Blades too strong against that deck. They dunk on us game 2. Like, setting up a revolt is really strong. So I think he had like App Revolt and like Strike or something. Like, he just dunked on us game 2. It was pretty bad. Game 3, it was pretty even. Well, no. He opened really awkward. Yeah, he opened really awkward. We started play. He changed Lancia. We called by the Lancia, which was really awkward for us because we had a Lancia in hand. And then we just go through our line. He ends up Valoring us at one point, and then gets him down to 3 cards in hand. He Valored and Imperm, so at that point he was down to 2 cards in hand. We were still able to set up a Phoenix Enforcer with Rusty, and then I activated Talents from hand, looked at his hand, sent Kit back, leaving him with nothing but Imperial Order in hand. And I had Lancia in hand, but it was dead because I couldn't activate Lancia because of my own Call by the Grave. So we passed to him. He drew for turn. He drew something terrible. I don't even know what it was. Like, it did nothing. I think it was a spell card that did just absolutely nothing because he just had IO and that spell. And then we go into round 4 against Drytron. We lose the die roll, lose game 1 pretty handily. We win game 2 slightly grindy. We had just enough to get him to stop and then kill him. And then game 3, he pops off and searches Lancia on us, which was really rude, but we opened Droplet, so we were fine. We opened Droplet and had to do a very cheeky line in order to get enough resources out. I think we went, we went Set Shade Brigadine, activated, still in the spell on Trap Zone, no response from him, Chain Emergency Teleport. he goes Chain Herald to negate the E-Telly. I go Chain Droplet, sending the Shade Brigadine, the E-Telly, and a Boots from Hand to negate his 3 monsters on field, which then allows the E-Telly to resolve to summon a thing. We go normal summon Tour Guide and go full combo. We're able to break through the board, pass back to him, and then it's a slight grind game from there. But we were able to squeeze it out in the end. We had just enough, even without the being able to banish. We had just enough to able to edge him out for game 3. It ended up we ended up taking 3rd place at the double box tournament because the people beside us were playing who were 3-0 as well, were playing for 1st place, and they ended up drawing in the finals. It was an Adignister versus Flunderies, the same Flunderies that got 2nd place at the case tournament, and the same Adignister player who got 8th. I think he got 8th place. He got top 8 at the case tournament. Like, we had 10 people from our locals drive down, and 3 of us topped. I bubbled out. I should have topped. And then, so 4 out of 10. Was it 10 of us? There's 4 in my car. 2 of the people in my car topped. And then there was, I think there's 4 in the other car, and 1 of the other ones topped. So there should have been 4 of us topped. 4 out of 8 is really good for our locals. We have a lot of really good players, even though we're like from a small town. I feel like we're all really good players, and we have a really strong locals, thankfully. But the case tournament was a lot of fun. I wish it didn't start at 6:30 because like we were so tired. It was miserable. It was miserable doing 6 rounds that late at night. Like, we didn't leave until like 3:30 in the morning. And like the one car drove back, like it was a 4-hour drive, and they drove back, and then people were crazy. And then they were at locals for the 6:30 case tournament or double box tournament that night. The shout out to those guys. They were committed. We went back to the hotel and slept for like 6 hours and then went home. And I still came home and took a fat nap. But that's the tournament report. Like, the deck's still doing really strong. Like, I'm very, very, very happy with the deck. But yeah, like, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like down below. Comment if you have any suggestions or anything you think I should try out. I'm very happy with the deck. I'm probably going to be doing a remote regional this Sunday with the deck. I'm going to try to do, I'm going to do this Sunday, do a remote regional. I was going to do one today, but I wanted to take a break from Yu-Gi-Oh for the weekend. I'm sorry I didn't record locals last night. I was just so tired, man, from the trip back. I didn't want to lug all my recording setup down. It was just laziness on my part. So this is probably going to be the only content that comes out Yu-Gi-Oh wise for the week. And then next week, you're only going to get 1 local tournament because I'm not going to go to the evening locals because a friend of mine, old Slop Lord from the channel, is having his birthday party next weekend around the same time that our evening locals normally starts. So we're only going to go to the morning locals and then go to his party in the evening. But you'll have a full tournament report for the regionals next week as well. If you'd like, I could see if some of the guys would be willing to give deck profiles of what they ran at the case tournament. And yeah, if you guys would like that, comment down below, and I'll get some deck profiles recorded at locals this weekend of what everybody ran. So what we had was 2nd place was our buddy Derek. He got 2nd with Flunderies. Then we had, I think Austin was running Adignister. He got 8th place. He was somewhere in top 8. Vern got top 16 with Drytron. He was eliminated in top 16. He ended up having to play Derek in the first round of top cut, which is very unfortunate. We had a lot of team kills in that tournament, which is really sad. And then myself, I should have topped, but I ended up going 3-3, which put me outside of top cut. The guy I played in the last round was able to get in on 16th place. And then we had 3 other people in the tournament. Was it just 3 others? Yeah, it was only 3 other people in the tournament who got, one was playing Traplich, who just got blown out by Duster Lightning Storm. Like, after 3 rounds, he had gotten like Duster Lightning Storm, like I think he said 10 times or something crazy like that. It was literally almost every games 2 and 3 he got blown out by Duster Lightning Storm. But he played in side events and won, I think, a box. So that was pretty cool. We had another player play Dragon's Mage. Matt from the channel, he played Dragon Mage. He did really well with Dragon Mage. He actually got kind of cheesed round 2. He started off XO, or he started off 1-0, and then round 2 he actually got cheated by a Sword Soul player activating a card that he once per turn effect twice, that he should have won that game in time, but it happens. He did pretty well with Dragon Mage, and then our other buddy RJ did, I think he did fairly decent. I think he ended up finishing X3 or X4. I think he might have went X4. I'm not 100% sure. But he did okay with Virtual World. He's not really liking the deck. But he's still a new and up-and-coming player, so he's starting to get better at the game. But yeah, I think all in all, as a locals, we did fairly well. If you'd like to see their deck profiles, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to get them this weekend at locals. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what I should change in the deck. You guys have an awesome day. Peace.
Everybody, there's a lot of